Welcome to a Youth Ki Baat original by the Youth of India Foundation, bringing you stories of purpose, action, and change. This episode features Nuriel Pezarkar, founder of NobleExchange Solution, a pioneer in India's circular economy movement. From working with city hotels and municipal bodies to setting up one of the country's first large scale plants that converts food waste into clean energy, Nuriel Ji's journey is a story of vision meeting impact. We spoke about the myths around sustainability, what it takes to build scalable environmental solutions in India, and why true change always begins at the ground level. Tune in to watch. Thank you for being here. Namaste, Nuriel ji. Welcome
Namaste.
to Youth Ki Baat by Youth of India Foundation. Could you please walk us through the journey and how did you feel that food waste was actually a crisis and how did you take on it?
So, food waste happened not by design, uh, but by default. I had spent a lot of time working on the paper manufacturing, tissue manufacturing industry, and we were working on a very innovative idea to make paper out of post-consumer Tetra Pak carton waste. And Tetra Pak carton waste was very difficult to find in India, so we were importing a lot of stock, waste stock of Tetra Pak cartons from Sweden, Denmark, etc. And we started to put uh, a loosely structured NGO of rack pickers in India, so that we can retrieve Tetra Pak cartons, which is typically juice cartons, milk cartons, etc., from the Indian waste streams. While working with the rack pickers and this association that we had formed, uh, we started getting a lot of Tetra Pak stock, but this stock used to be contaminated with a lot of oil, rice, and other food stuff, and that made that Tetra Pak carton, recycling point. So when we started talking to the rack pickers to understand why this problem, why can't we get cleaner stock, the problem that was highlighted to us by the on the ground foot soldiers, you can call them, सफाई कर्मचारीज, was that कि सर इसमें तो बहुत सारा food waste होता है which contaminates the Tetra Pak cartons. Then we started looking at these, how this food waste is generated and what is the quantity, and we were really shocked to see that 50% to 55% of Indian waste that is generated in urban cities is really organic or food waste. And the problem of Tetra Pak carton waste appeared to be so small.
Right.
And then typically coming from the perspective ki larger the problem, more valuable the solution. So we said, all right, if we can figure out a solution for food waste, it will be a far more valuable, far more real solution with a larger environmental impact. And that's how the awareness and the eyes opened to the challenge of food waste. And we said, all right, now that we identified a problem that doesn't seem to have a real solution, can we put a solution around it?
Right.
And then the pursuit to dig deeper into science and technology to understand if we can, uh, you know, uh, process food waste and create something of value from it. And the answer was that yes, you can create gas and you can create manure. And when we look at India as a country, we are importing 70% of our fuel needs. We are importing even more than 50% of our fertilizer needs. So it was absolutely a revelation that if we can use our own food waste and create this extremely valuable form of renewable energy and organic manure, which can not only be good for consumption by our own society, but more importantly also help India reduce the import bill,
Right.
our foreign exchange reserves, etc. So all of these, when it started to come together, it formed this whole big idea of food waste processing into gas and manure.
All right.
And that really was the starting point of the wow moment for Noble Exchange, that we can put this together and take it to the market. So that's how Noble Exchange and food waste as an idea was really born. So Noble Exchange was born with the idea of Tetra Pak processing. Food waste happened as a default, as an accident, and then we left the Tetra Pak processing far behind, and we kind of completely migrated into processing of food waste, and that's how this whole journey started.
The accident actually was the main
The
turning point
accident
and
was
the
a
best
very
turning
it was a very
point.
fortunate accident, if one may say. But yeah, that was the understanding, insights, keeping our eyes close to the ground
Right.
reality, interacting and working closely. We had nearly close to 200,000 rack pickers
It's great.
connected directly and indirectly with our effort, and they really helped us to open our eyes to the enormity of the problem of food waste disposal in India. And then, of course, our own research and learning to see how science and technology can help us to overcome this challenge. This was way back in 2014.
There must be many challenges that you would have faced when you were actually going through the food waste sector, the rack picker communities, and everything. How did you address these problems? How did you address these challenges?
See, the sector has so much overlaps. There is social, there is political, there is administrative,
Right.
administration system. Um Waste is the responsibility and ownership of municipal corporations. There are organizations that work around this sector, NGOs, association of rack pickers, etc. So I don't think we could anticipate what kind of challenges we will face, but we were determined in our purpose. I was determined with the cause, and we say, all right, whatever we face, we will create a solution and we'll overcome these stumbling blocks if they happen along the way. So the important thing was to have the faith, uh, and find the purpose that this is impactful, and I want to put all energies behind making this happen. And whatever we face, because it was uncharted territory, right? One came from a
Right.
completely blue chip multinational company, organized way of working, to uh, an entrepreneurial plunge which suddenly landed into very choppy waters with various stakeholders.
Right.
So challenges kind of came along the way, and we kept overcoming those challenges. And so there was nothing specific to begin with. There were myths around waste. Nobody wants to handle waste. Waste has negative appeal to all your sensories. Waste is also, the people who handle waste are looked upon differently. There is a different caste, different community, so there is a stigma around it. So there is challenge even finding good people, good qualified engineers to work in the waste sector, because उनके घर से तो यही सवाल आता है ना कि बेटा पढ़ाई लिखाई करके इंजीनियर बने हो तो कूड़े कचरे में क्या काम कर रहे हो, इंजीनियर
Right.
बने हैं तो ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री में जाइए, आईटी इंडस्ट्री में जाइए. So challenges at various levels, starting from base levels like these. So I don't think we were in a position to anticipate challenges in advance, but uh, the conviction, the determination, the purpose driven approach that we had found ourselves such a large purpose that we thought, all right, challenges can be overcome at when we face them.
That's really nice. You just mentioned coming from a very well settled corporate job to being an entrepreneur. What does your experience from your corporate life taught you in the entrepreneurship field as well?
I think it was great that I had spent 15-20 years in the organized corporate world, because I think the experience with the corporate industry really uh, gave one the discipline
Right.
that is required to plan something big, to work around various aspects that impact the business. Um, so all of those learnings in those 1.5 2 decades were really helpful to open up one's mind, one's vision, to say that, all right, this is the way we can scale this. This is the way we need to put our systems together. Okay, if you are doing a skill based initiative, you have different challenges. But if you're doing a system based initiative like this, where you're taking a feedstock, you're processing it with science and technology, creating a useful product, then there are several other dots that you will need to join. So I
Right.
think that discipline, that approach, that clarity of mind, process driven, system driven, that was the key learning that went into make Noble Exchange what it is today.
Right. So, also talking about your very first project, what did it teach you? How did you overcome challenges in that as well? How did you start with it? What was the biggest push you had?
So Tetra Pak, before that I was doing tissues, which means all hygiene related products. And while doing hygiene related products, we had come up with this mindset of customers who are willing to be more sustainable around their
Right.
own business, operations. Um, Coming from paper, one understood the size, the enormity of, let's say, for example, writing, printing, stationery market in India. It's a market which is very off the radar. It's not a very high profile segment, but if you see the volume of business, the value of this segment, it is two times the size of soap and shampoo market put together. So it's a huge market, and we thought that, all right, if we can create something different in this, that would be valuable, and which is where Tetra Pak as a resource was pretty handy, because it is packaging food products. There are regulations that you can only have extremely high quality virgin fiber pulp in it, and 65% to 70% of the weight of the Tetra Pak carton is paperboard. The rest is poly and aluminum, etc. So if you can figure out a technology to remove the aluminum and poly and take the paper board and convert that into writing printing paper, then you have a solid solution to, let's say, your white collared photocopying paper, or your diaries, notebooks, envelopes, etc. So uh, it was born from a different idea, but in the same zone of taking something that is waste and converting that into a value added product. Challenges were more or less the same, retrieving the feedstock. Waste is lying on the street, nobody has a problem. But you go and want to pick it up and make something valuable from it, then there are questions asked. You know, then the corporation will come in, the local political system comes in, the social system comes in, and you have to see, you can't just have a solution which is uh, working from a science and technology point. It also has to be socially acceptable.
Right.
So financially viable, uh, technologically feasible, and socially acceptable. Very often we neglect the socially acceptable part, but that became an important learning in this whole process. That while you do these two and we seem the most logical solution for a country like India, which we are still looked upon as not so clean. We have uh, we have dirty streets, and we have our garbage is not processed. So what looks like an obvious problem may still not have such an obvious solution, because social acceptance of a solution that you're offering
Right.
also is a very key important point, and that became a huge learning, which took us
Right.
5 7 years to really understand, overcome, um, at points even seek judiciary interception to correct this, because there are thoughts, there are societal behaviors, there are attitude problems towards garbage. So these were the challenges that kept coming along the way, but then we have to keep finding solutions to overcome them.
There was always a conviction to keep going.
See, your purpose has to drive you. If you believe in that purpose and the purpose is doing good, see, all commercial enterprises will want to make money. But if you are making money before that, if you are doing some good for the society, for the environment, for the world as a unit, uh, then that purpose is larger than just the money making part of it. Money is an
Right.
incidental outcome that will happen. If you all come from backgrounds, बचपन से यही सिखाया जाता है ना कि भैया दो पैसे बनाओ. तो पैसे तो बनने हैं, बट कैसे बनने हैं? And what are we trying to achieve before that person? Money making, if that becomes a purpose, then there's so many other trades you can do, where you can make money, but it's not purpose driven. If purpose is driving more than the money, then you'll keep finding solutions, you'll keep overcoming them. Of course, it causes strain, it causes financial strain, it causes emotional strain, it causes strain within your teams that are working. Everybody has needs, there are families to run, etc. So those challenges do happen. But when you're chasing something so large, so vast, so huge, there are few of these sacrifices, few of these tensions that keep happening along the way, and you need to find ways to overcome them.
That's great. Purpose driven individuals are somebody who will be very passionate about their work no matter what happens. Imagine a young 20-year-old who wants to actually find something which can be impactful on the society but does
Sure.
not really know where to start. What would you advise him?
Interesting. Sometimes we keep waiting for thinking how I can make a difference, right? Small things can start making a difference. I'll give you an example. Religions, especially Jewish religion, Catholic religion, we believe that God made 7 days in a week and one day was kept as rest. So Christians will follow the Sunday and Jews will follow the Sabbath, which is Friday evening to Saturday evening. What does the religion really ask you to do? They ask you to switch off your mobile phones, no electricity, no spending of money, no traveling by a car. So you can entertain yourself, but you can entertain yourself as a group of people, families, friends, come together, get sandwiches, food, whatever, sing, praise the God, so on and so forth. If that one day I cut myself off from electrical appliances, transport, which means fuel,
Right.
and other all worldly things that we do on a regular uh, way, 1 out of 7 days, I have reduced my carbon footprint by 17-18% in one go. So we don't have to think too much कि मेरे को every day क्या different करना है. If I can take one small thing and start to be a woodpecker on it, keep hitting at it till it cracks open, till it the rest will follow. So I don't think anybody needs to wait for that one big thing to happen. You can pick up something very small and start running with it, and a rolling stone will not gather any moss, right?
Right.
It will gather momentum. When it gathers momentum, you find a few good customers, a few good administrators, a few good politicians who pick up this as an idea and start to give it the right wind under the wings. You will soon find the flight. So my advice to youngsters looking at this, listening to what we are talking about today is, uh, we don't have to wait for that big bang to happen. There could be small things around us. Pick up something that is a genuine problem, find a solution around it, and just get to do it. Sometimes doing it is far more important than doing it right. Start doing it and course correct as you go. Corrections will keep happening. It's never that your plan is 100% right from day one, right? So the key is to get moving, get started. It takes very few people to change the world. It does not take all the people in the world to do the same thing simultaneously to change the world. Few people, you know, dedicated to a cause can really create that change.
About the woodpecker theory that you were saying, it is also related to Kaizen somehow, how you have
Yes,
to do 1% improvement
totally.
every day.
Aim
So
for that
that
1%. That
right,
one will be ek se anek. In our scriptures, there are
completely
so
right.
many examples of this. Boon boon se pani, ek se anek, this and that. 1 plus 1 is 11.
That is very
Yeah.
right. What
So
do
that
you
really works.
That's right. What do you think is the next game changing innovation that can be brought to India?
See, India is, you look at all the basic things in India today, water. There's so much more to do in water. We have surplus of water, it's raining everywhere. But then within 5, 6, 7 months, you'll hear about droughts in situation in so many places. We don't have good water to drink. We are depending on so much of filtration, so much of thing. But the water on my tap is not good enough to drink. You go to so many advanced countries, and water in a shower or water in your tap is good to drink. We are still dependent on plastic bottles and 25-liter jars to come to our homes, or water filters, etc. So there's huge amount of work to be done on water. There's work to be done on soil.
Right.
Phenomenal. We are an agrarian economy, right? 70% of our country depends on agriculture. And despite all of this, and despite centuries of agriculture, today we are saying that our soil doesn't have so much of nutrient value because we've eroded by the use of chemical fertilizers, etc. So there's a huge amount of work that can go on soil, on crop, on enriching quality nutrients in food. Huge amount of work. Air is another great. We hear about top cities in India being in the top 10 most polluted cities in the world. So obviously, air is another area where a lot of work can happen. It can happen in a house like this. It can happen in an office. It can happen in the whole city.
Right.
Yeah. So look at big areas, and of course, you can start looking at smaller sub segments from these and work on that too. That I'll work to make a hospital more, the air in the hospital more sanitized, right? Situations like COVID awakened us to this whole thing about cross contamination.
Right.
मेरे को बीमारी हुई है, आपको नहीं होनी चाहिए. So prevention of that contamination. The same thing happens in a hospital on a very larger scale. So you can pick up sub segments from this, but basically air, water, soil, big areas. In soil, you can then dissect and say, I will work on soil. Somebody will say, I'll work on plants. Somebody will say, I'll work on something else. But there are areas and there are impactful segments available in all of these, which I think country like India and many other countries in the world, we are far behind to make all this lost ground and do some good. And while doing all of this, what you're going to create is a better carbon footprint, a better impact on the environment, definitely more financial benefits to your hardworking farmers and upliftment of that segment. We're still hearing about cases for farmers committing suicide due to debt,
Right.
right? So there is electricity for free, there is fertilizers given as subsidy, etc. But still, the revenue doesn't happen with the farmer. So maybe there's a way to innovate how the produce is sold to the market. The produce is sold at an extremely low price, and the final consumer is consuming that at a high price, and something in the middle is not working right. So maybe there's a way to innovate over there. So possibilities are endless. It's a question of what one feels passionate about. Take that one area, do some work around it, do some research, find a genuine problem, and create a solution around it. That's the upside of opportunity in India, and we are really thankful that government schemes today are looking at supporting, promoting the entrepreneurial drive in the country. And if it's science and technology backed, even more, because then there's a department of science and technology, there are incubation centers
Right.
across the country which are willing to incubate such companies. So there's a huge ecosystem that is now supporting. So all the more reason for youngsters to look at entrepreneurial opportunities and try to do things differently.
How do you think entrepreneurship has evolved since the last 20 years?
Huge. We all came from families where we were just talking earlier in the afternoon ki, our mindset about uh, jitni chaddar hai utna pair pasaro, right? But today entrepreneurship is saying that resources is not a constraint, right? If your idea is big and you know how to put a team around it and scale it, then resources will find its way to you.
Right.
That's the biggest difference in the way entrepreneurship has started to look at opportunities, that scale is not a constraint in my head anymore.
Right.
you know so to my mind, that's the single biggest liberation of mindset कि हम छोटा नहीं सोचेंगे, हम बड़ा सोचेंगे. We'll take it to impact, we'll take it to scale, and we'll make a large company out of it. So that shift in the past decade and a half, more or less, has been fantastic. you know and we are not restricted by just saying कि I have ambitions to make the this segment leadership in India. I'm saying I can take it across to the world. If an American company can teach us how to eat potato chips, right, and burgers and fries, I'm sure we can take something far more valuable, far more technology driven, back to the Americans. And today there are resources and finances available for you to do that, provided you have the ability to take it, ability to think through, ability to put your system together, put your company, put your teams, and take it to the world. So that, to my mind, has been the single largest. See our IT companies from India, phenomenal work that they've done, gone global, right into the backyard of the most technically advanced countries. And I don't see a reason why in other sectors this can't happen.
Right. That's very true. I think youth of India today is actually going beyond limits and are limitless,
Absolutely.
as you mentioned really correctly. What has been that one defining moment for you in Noble Exchange as well, where you felt like, okay, I'm moving in the right direction? And also one person or one advice that stuck with you throughout your journey with Noble Exchange? Because whenever you're leading, you need an entire team to lead with you, and you are always the leader, but you really know how to handle the team as well. Do you think there's this concept coming in?
See, when you're looking at a team, and especially with an idea, I would call the idea of a noble exchange.
Yes.
You need to make sure that throughout your entire team of people, there could be, there are various levels in the company, right? But your concept, your philosophy, your passion, your concept, your vision about the idea that you're talking about has to be understood at the lowest level in the hierarchy of the company. Then everybody is driven with that passion and purpose. So clarity of that purpose, clarity of that vision, to my mind, is most important. If founders, entrepreneurs can articulate that well and drive it down their system, from top to down. That makes sure that the entire unit is cohesive, looking in one direction and at the same speed.
That's very right. So there has been one defining moment for you in Noble Exchange that you felt like, okay, I'm going in the right direction.
Well, when we started Noble Exchange way back in 2014, the sector was not on the radar of policymakers, decision makers who lead our country, etc. We saw a change that happened in 2014. Come 2015, we had policies like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan that was launched. So we knew that, all right, as a nation, we are looking to make our cities cleaner.
Right.
That was the first big uh, reciprocation. We thought, all right, if the leader of a nation is today talking this language, and we are hoping that this language will percolate down, then what we are trying to do is to monetize and process waste is looking like just the right thing to do at that time.
Right.
So that was the biggest shot in the arm, which is good policies that started talking the language about sustainability, cleaning cities, smarter cities, make in India, etc. That was a huge, I would say, boost, and gave us the right confidence that, all right, this is something that you can really dig deep into and try to scale, aligning ourselves to national objectives. National objective is huge. That's your motherhood statement. If you can align your business idea to national objectives, that is once in a lifetime opportunity.
That's right. Imagine it is 2047. Who are you and what is Noble Exchange? What position is Noble Exchange at?
Noble Exchange will keep innovating. We will look at bottom up approaches. In 47, I think we'll be proud having been a part of creating a better world. Very cliche term, but still a better
Yes.
world. Uh, Very signature opportunities that we've unlocked. Uh, the nation never knew the word called compressed biogas. It's a term that was coined. Regulations were formed on the basis of what Noble Exchange did way back in 2015.
Right.
Policymakers looked at us differently, and we created a category of product which today we are very happy to see that hundreds of such projects are coming across the whole country, right? So in 47, I think we'll be in a good position to look back and say, hey, this is what we started. We were the fire starters of this sector.
The
We may not
change
be the
maker.
largest. uh, we may not be the largest in the sector, because obviously when national agenda items like gas, manure comes in, a lot of high net, high energy companies, oil companies, gas companies will look at it differently. The scale, the connects that they get to the table are very different.
Right.
But it's a matter of fact that they looked at it after a startup had established this as a reality. Ki waste can be taken, processed into gas, and the gas can be put into your vehicle, substituting the fossil fuel that you make. So it took a startup to make an oil company acknowledge that, all right, this is a direction a $20 billion company can look at. So yes, we may not be the market leaders then, but we would have had taken the satisfaction of starting this from scratch and acknowledging and creating a market space which will be extremely valuable going into the future.
Being the actual change maker and
Yeah,
the
the
and the
change.
person who dared to begin, basically.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Walk us through your day, like a normal day in your life.
Normal day in my life is pretty chill actually. My job is to fab. And people ask me, what do you make? So we say we make a lot of gas. So, so gassing around is the best that I think I can describe what I do most of my day. Because see, we've come to a stage where our plants are established, we've got teams in place, operational responsibilities are not so much on my shoulders.
Right.
So that gives me the flexibility to think something different. What else can we do? How can we
Right.
take this deeper? How can we do this in more places? Is there a way that we can do something differently? We're working on something right now. I won't be able to talk too much about this innovation, but uh, it's going to change the way uh, people will look at food waste. We're already doing something that has changed perception, but I think we're going to take it another notch up. Maybe another 3, 4, 5 months we should be making an announcement on this. But it's a very interesting breakthrough, so a lot of my time goes in things like those. So that's where, yeah, so my day is pretty
Chill.
relaxed. I could be at days doing nothing. Yeah, but it's more of a mind work. It's more of connecting dots. It's more of meeting people. I spend a lot of time meeting policymakers, get invited to a lot of I'm a part of the CII network, CII task force on biofuels. So there's a lot of debating that happens, what India can do next, what's the other best substitute for fossil fuels, etc. So there are several of these engagements that keep thoughts moving forward, looking for better ideas, better ways to solve conventional problems. So that's really my zone. My best value for Noble Exchange is extracted when I'm not doing the operational thing and I'm doing something else. So that's really value creating, and that's what I'm best at doing, maybe. Um, so yeah, a typical day is pretty relaxed. Some days do get extremely hyper, um, but we're looking for that next big idea, the next big leap that the company can take.
All the very best for the upcoming
Thank you
project,
so much.
first of all. Second, as you mentioned, things might get hyper sometimes, days might get hyper. What keeps you going through the stress? Are there any practices that you do?
The other thing is, things go wrong, right? You're in a business. You're trying to do something different.
Mm.
If something is done proven, it's pretty simple. 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. But when you're trying to do something which is 1 plus 1 11, out of the 5 things that you try, 4 will fail. Okay, but if that failure is always taken to heart, कि हे भगवान, ये तो गलती हो गया, फेलियर हो गया,
Hmm.
तो वो माइंडसेट को अलग रखना है, राइट?
Right.
सो I don't think we can afford to take everything so personally. Entrepreneurs cannot take things personally. If things go wrong, the first reflection is you've tried to do something different. If it was the same, then it wouldn't have gone wrong, right? So
That's amazing.
first thing is that you've done something different. You've tried to do something different, and I said this on a previous chat also. You know that for any one effort of this scale, where there is social attitude, behavior, policy making, so many large layers to change, there are 15 external factors that have to align. मेरी तरफ से एफर्ट पूरी है, उसमें कोई कमी नहीं है, but there are some external factors that are not aligned to making this work. It could be timing, it could be state of affairs with our political system,
Right.
etc. There are 15 other external factors that may not lead to success of what efforts you put in. So it cannot directly reflect on the entrepreneur. ये mindset थोड़ा, like, I've seen this in a country like Israel, which is huge on entrepreneurship. They celebrate that failure, and with our Indian uh, ecosystem, I've still not seen that reflecting so much. But yeah, that I think is a very important point. That take it easy, it's okay. uh, Plans can always be reworked. Don't be too rigid. Something goes wrong, you take a 2 steps back and then 3 steps forward. It works, it's okay, it's all right, as long as you understood what was the challenge and you found a way to work around it. So an entrepreneur's mind has to keep working towards finding solutions. There's no set course. Ki this is step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4. This will never happen. So deal with uncertainty with that confidence, and if your purpose is holding you high and together, I think you'll find the ways out.
Is there any book or perspective that changed your perspective about life?
uh, I'm not much of a book reader, so no, but movie, yes, big buff. So a dear friend told me about this movie, Okay, which was In Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith, and that movie really shook me. And then, yeah, there's so much of good content now. So it's phenomenal. The content is phenomenal. The entertainment value is too good. So I don't think I should name one or two favorites. There's nothing like favorites. Enjoy, and you go through that and you come up with something else and view something else. Then that becomes your uh,
Right.
yeah.
What are the top three things that will always stay with you wherever you go?
Compassion to start with, eternally hopeful. Like even in the most distressful situations, you'll find me saying, "Arey bhai, ho jayega," we'll find a way out. Okay, and yeah, something, the attitude to keep giving something, right? You have to give it back to the society, to the world, to the environment. So I would rate this at the top three.
And that really reflects upon how you behave.
If you can hold these and bring it back to the work, then you're not working, no, you're just chilling,
Right.
right? Because uh, you're driven by these values, you're driven by these
Believe.
objects, or
Right.
objectives, or purposes.
Right.
Then you're putting effort behind it, but you're not working hard. Nothing seems to be hard. you know you're flowing through it. It's like saying convert your passion into, or your hobby into, your profession, right? Then you're not working.
Okay.
So if you can find that space, it's great. Great to be in that space.
That's great. Is there any city that actually inspires you a lot?
Mumbai meri jaan. Bombay is a city where I grew up and spent all my uh, the years that you really get spoiled were in Bombay. So Bombay spoiled me thoroughly, but Bombay has this very palpable energy about it. The attitude of people that go and work out there, and do things as individuals, and as teams. I think that is phenomenal about Bombay, a city of dreams, city of adversities, and the way the life just goes on. It's phenomenal. The resilience in that city is humongous. There's a bomb blast on a train, and the next hour the locals are passing on the same track, right? The amount of resilience is phenomenal. If that can all be somehow just extruded out and put into a, you know other people, as a country would be very different.
What do you think is a startup myth that most people should stop believing in?
Scale. Previously, I mean, at least until a decade ago, the whole thinking was what I mentioned earlier, uh, that think about scale, छोटा शुरू करो, अपने पास जितने resources है वैसे spread करो, वैसे ये करो. That myth, somehow we need to drill it out of
Right.
uh, entrepreneurs in India.
Right.
We have the ability, we have the talent, we have the skill sets to really think big, go global from India, and resources will find. Like I said that earlier, also resources will find way if you have a great plan, a great solution, and the ability to organize your resources around it.
Right.
And that I still find that our entrepreneurs are slightly hesitant to do. It comes from, our schools also teach us the same thing, right? We are not taught to be brave and go and take the world, right? So that can change, that should change. And the second big thing is about, especially when we talk about research in science and technology, I see a lot of innovation that comes from research and theory. So I will innovate something, and I will hold it close to my chest like a baby, and then I will try to go out and convince everybody that you need this. अब उसकी एक्चुअल में सॉल्यूशन की ज़रूरत है या नहीं है, ये हम कभी-कभी नहीं सोचते हैं.
Hmm.
And you see so many patents filed, so many papers in research institutes filed, which look like great ideas, but do those ideas find acceptance or relevance in the market? So instead of taking what I thought is good out, do what any large multinational company does, which is to see whether there is a gap in the market, is there a need, and then can I reverse that into my technology pool, my R&D pool, and say, can I create a solution to fill this need, the outside in, rather than I have developed something and I'm taking it to the market saying, "Bhai, ये तो आपको चाहिए." So if that thought process can be reversed, we have enough uh, depth in our science and technology to find genuine solutions.
Very right. This would be my last question to you.
Sure.
What is that one small habit that you follow regularly and would advise the youth watching to follow as well?
Oh, I think, uh, and if youth is looking at entrepreneurship, one of the biggest thing is to take care of yourself, physically, mentally, right? You wake up, and unless you are up to it and you're looking after yourself, you will not give the confidence to somebody else to say कि हाँ भाई ये बंदा करेगा,
Right.
you know. So look after yourself, mental well-being, emotional well-being, physical well-being, most important. Because you're working hard, your working hours have stretched beyond what you can really manage. Your food has been compromised, your health has been compromised, your sleep has been compromised. It is bound to reflect on the work, and your investor will not have confidence that you can take this through.
Very right.
So I'm not saying you have to be like the most fittest, most handsome, most well-dressed guy around or girl around, but health has to reflect. Health will give confidence. Health will give you the positivity to to believe and do more with what you're thinking. So I think that one thing that I would really want to address to the youngsters is take care of yourself.
Right, very right. I think we've had the best of takeaways from this session.
Thank
But then it was
I
really,
am very
really
happy.
nice to have a conversation with you. Thank you so
It's a
much,
pleasure.
Nuriel ji.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward to more and more future collaborations. Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.